second agenda item, we'll be talking about the Self-Employment in the Arts Conference. There is no formal programming by the Fellows program this year at the SCA conference, but we nevertheless encourage you and your fellows to attend, so we'll talk a little bit about that. And then with any kind of time remaining, we want to just do a quick little program check-in if there's time remaining to kind of hear back from you now that we're approaching the midpoint of the academic year, how you think the program is working on your campus. So again, if we have any time for that, that'll make up the balance of our conversation. So everyone should be looking on screen and seeing this list of interim reports, or these interim report questions that we have. And we're just going to very briefly talk through them. But the real goal, the overarching goal for interim reporting is for the foundation and Joe and I and Mike and Rosa to get a little bit of a check-in and see how things are going here as we're approaching the midpoint of the year. But very importantly, it's to create a means through which you can share what's happening, what's working well, what that you think with your colleagues, other project directors. So the way in which you'll upload your reports or make your reports will be at the Coleman Fellows website in the Directors Only section of that website. So if you were to go to the home page of the Coleman Fellows site, on the right-hand side where there's that horizontal or that vertical navigation, you would see a Directors Only button. You can click on that, and that allows you to begin the process of uploading your reports. For those of you who have been with us in prior years, that should be a familiar process. You should have a couple reports in there from prior years, and that area is restricted to individuals that can log in as a project director. So therefore, what you'd be reporting and the visibility to that section is restricted to project directors. And we think that's important because we want you to be able to share with that audience, that kind of unique audience of contemporaries like you as a project director, what is taking place in your program, what's working, what you think you might have done differently, things of that nature. So that's the essence of the interim report. It's not a rigorous evaluation. As you can see, these are kind of anecdotal type questions. We're looking for the color that's coming from you as a leader of your program. We're not doing this year, as we've had in the past, kind of a numerical analysis of things here in the interim report. So it's 5 simple questions, and we'll just talk through them briefly. But again, the overarching goal is an opportunity for you to share with your fellow directors. So therefore, we're asking you not only to complete these questions and post them by January 31st, but then in February, we really encourage you to sit down and take a few minutes and take a look at what other folks have written, learn a little bit about what they're doing, and benefit from their experience as well. So much as we have tried to get the fellows together and to engage not only on your campuses through you as leads, but across campus using the e-baristas and the cups of espresso, we're looking for this process to be one that will help you to connect with other project directors and benefit, if not in a direct personal conversation, at least through understanding what's happening on their campuses through reading their reports. So the questions are these. So question number 1, what have you found to be the most effective way for you to bring fellows together to exchange information on entrepreneurship education? And please provide some examples. So, fairly basic question, but we're trying to understand and hope you can share with others what you're doing with your fellows, on a regular basis. How are you bringing them together? What are the most effective ways to educate, to encourage them to become part of the movement, to join in your efforts and advance self-employment education? So that's a fairly basic question there. But again, we're looking for not just kind of the laundry list of everything you're doing, but we're really more interested in the things that are being effective, that you believe are the most effective ways to build your team on campus. So that's the first question. Are there any questions about that? Just as we describe it, it's a pretty simple question, but feel free to jump in if any questions or raise your hand, and Joe will acknowledge you. And if, as you do that, we'll start moving into the second question, which is, describe the methods you are using to bring added value and support to your fellows to help them accomplish their work in infusing entrepreneurship in the curriculum. So now we're kind of interested, not only how are you bringing them together and engaging them, but how are you, as the lead entrepreneurship educator, engaging them and helping to transmit what you know to them. So the first question, a little bit different. The first question is around, how are you, bringing them together? How are you engaging them? The ways in which you're creating that environment. And the second question is, you as a educator, how are you taking steps, and what are you doing to effectively educate your fellows and lead them into certain areas? And we could be looking for, particular topics that you might be focusing on. So, for instance, you might say, well, I get my fellows together on question 1. I get my fellows together every month, and we meet for an hour, and we do it, after the coffee hour or before or something like that. Question 2 might be, at these meetings, one thing I've talked about is ... and the way in which I've communicated it is like this. So the first question is a little bit more around process. The second question a little bit more about content. The third, and Joe, please, let me know if anyone's asking questions.
No, so far no questions.
Okay. Third question is trying to get us to something that we've talked about, over the course of the Fellows program, trying to understand administrative support and the way in which, you're being supported, the way in which the support you're receiving from your administrative leaders is increasing due to the Fellows program. So what factors are affecting dean, department, or university recognition of entrepreneurship education on campus? How is the Fellows program supporting this? And again, please provide examples. So we're trying to understand, does the Fellows program help you build support? In the last 2 years of final reports, we've received clear evidence that you're telling us that your political capital is increasing, that you have greater ability to move forward entrepreneurship education. And so this question is trying to peel that back a little bit, learn a little bit more about what the way in which the Fellows program is in fact doing that for you. So again, this question, as with all of them, we're looking for specific examples as opposed to generalities. The fourth question now relates to the cups of espresso and the work that the e-baristas are leading. We recognize that that is in many ways very distinct to what you're doing with your campus fellows, but we still are trying to understand what, if any, interactions exist between what the cups of espresso and the e-baristas are doing and your work. So the question is, how are you remaining informed about the projects and activities of the cups of espresso? How will you, as a director, determine the impact of the e-baristas and their work to your program? And again, please be as specific as possible. So it's trying to understand in your project director role, how do you interface with the cups of espresso? To what degree should that be strengthened? Do you feel like you have some awareness of what's happening, that your fellows are doing in those groups? Or is that something that we need to attend to a little bit more? Help us to understand your perspective of the cups of espresso activity from where you're sitting. And then as we've kind of reinforced, we're really strongly encouraging the engagement and the sharing, the use of the website, forum, and these vehicles that we've created so that we can have a sharing of information. And so we're going to ask you, what's the way in which you're interacting with those elements of the program? How often are you posting articles, discussion threads, posts in the new Cups of Espresso, wall areas? How are you promoting the Fellows site, as a key part of the program? Are there opportunities to use that you may haven't, perhaps you haven't, taken advantage of yet, but will intend to in the future? We really want to, not only encourage you to do that, but get a sense as to the degree to which you are using it. And obviously, we read the articles, so we see the ones that you're posting. I know some of you have certainly gone out there and posted updates on your programs, which are interesting to read. We'd like to understand the way in which you're using that and how you might use it in the future. So those are the 5 basic questions, and obviously in those 5 questions, we're not looking for the great American novel. We're just looking for enough content for you to really answer the question, give us a good sense in each of those 5 areas what's happening or what you think might be opportunities in the future. So the fairly basic questions. Pause for a moment here and ask if anyone has questions on those questions.
Questions, comments, thoughts?
Yes, please, go ahead.
So far, no. Go ahead. You don't have to raise your hand, Leader. Go ahead if you need to. No comments or questions.
Okay, well, if you have any questions as you review these, feel free to contact Joe or myself or Rosa or Mike, and we'll be happy to address those.
Mark?
Yes.
Sharon?
Yes.
Or Joe? Or Rosa? On number 4, on the baristas, because I've got one side of the barista on what we're working here, but they're in their process. I think they've had 1 or 2 engagements since CEO. Are you just looking for us to report that, or our progress on their overarching goal? I guess I'm unclear.
Yeah, Sharon. Well, we were fully cognizant of the fact that the Cups of Espresso, led by the e-baristas, have plans that they're moving on. They have activities that they're doing.
Yeah.
But we, to date, have not made a really strong connection between you as a project director and the activities of the Cups of Espresso. Those have been set up so that an e-barista is facilitating things, and you have fellows that are on various different Cups of Espresso, but you don't really have a formal role there. So part of what we're trying to understand is...
And my understanding is I shouldn't be having a formal role with that. Isn't that your intent?
Well, the intent is that we have successful Cups of Espresso.
Exactly.
We haven't assigned, we haven't encouraged you to play a role there, but, therefore we're trying to understand, are project directors involved to some degree that we're not aware of or not?
Right.
And we're not putting a value judgment on it. We're just trying to understand whether you're connected.
So, we make sure they have the facilitation, their meeting, they're putting that together, and in our conversation, because most of mine has just been informal conversation of what they're doing. We're meeting, I think, and I think Mary had a call, but they're still framing a lot of stuff. So my job is, frankly, to make it easy for that thing to happen, but I'm not leading any of that. So
right.
Okay. Do I have the right assumption for that?
That's exactly right. But what you just described is stuff that we don't know. We don't know what you're doing with that, so we're trying to understand.
Okay. So what I just said would be, that's the kind of stuff you're looking for.
Yeah, we're trying to, and if you have an opinion, if you have if you're saying, hey, so far, I think it might make sense if I were a little bit more involved, or if they had a little bit more guidance. That's something we want to know. But I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth. We're
okay. All right. Okay.
We'll process check here.
Right. Got it. All right. Thanks.
Can I throw something in here? From my standpoint, I'm not trying to give the directors, a whole other assignment, but you have activity going on that's related to your program.
Correct.
I would think there would be a natural interest in there as to what's coming out of those cups of espresso and what does it mean to your program. So I think we'd be looking for an awareness on your part of what it is and how to share that information with other fellows outside of it. As Clark said, we don't know what's going to come out of that, but well, our fear is we've got some really good things happening in those cups of espresso, and
oh,
Joe? Joe, are you still there? Okay, well, it looks like we're...
Well,
If anyone is using voice over IP, please mute it at a minimum. It's much preferable if you dial in, not using the voice over IP function.
what Mike said makes sense, and I agree with that. All I was trying to say is, and we intend to use some of the. I guess it's for me. For some of them, it's they're getting their thing started, and my role so far has just been to help facilitate that, to make sure those happen, to stay on top of that. And I agree that what the outcomes from that yet are or at least from my perspective, with some of the ones that I'm seeing are still yet to be developed. But I anticipate that some will.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's all I was trying to say is you're not expecting, because I think we want them to take the lead, I guess is what I'm really trying to say. We want them moving forward in their disciplines, how those things are going to make an impact.
That's right, absolutely. But, I think this is really, Sharon, it's a process question. How are things working?
Right.
Where do you see gaps? Should there be involvement? What has been your involvement today? We're just trying to get a read on that.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm doing the right thing.
Sure. Yeah. Other questions? And feel free to just...
Diane, I have a question. It's Diane.
Yeah, Diane.
I was curious, in terms of feedback loop, are the baristas feeding back a report to the foundation so that we might get a copy of that, the directors, so we have an idea better of what's going on inside that and really what's getting accomplished?
Well, each of the cups of espresso has a communication plan. They take different forms, but many of them, and I think Joe's a little bit closer to this than I, many of them are using the kind of the Facebook wall-like functionality at the website. So that's a place to go to kind of check in and see what people are doing. We haven't asked them to formally report in, something. So I don't have we don't have a list of reports that we could provide to you. But that's that little wall area is the place where many of them are having their dialogue and communication. But I'd say, Diane, put that in your report. If you think that's a gap, if you think saying, hey, I need to have a place to go to see where everyone is, put that in your report, and we can understand that that's a need out there.
Thank you.
Clark, if I can add something here, all the directors are also members of all of the COE's wall space. You go to all groups tab on the menu, and if you sign in, all of the directors are by default on the COE group, so you could see what's happening on any of these groups or what's being posted on the walls. And so then that's another option for you to consider, Diane.
Yep.
Getting some severe audio distortion over top of your audio.
Yeah, Joe, do we have some voice over IP issues?
I'm sorry, what? Go ahead.
We're getting some feedback, and I'm wondering if there's some IP, voice over IP problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll monitor that then. Okay. Any other questions? And really clarifying questions regarding these 5 questions.
Hi, Clark. It's Georgianne.
Yes, Georgianne.
My question, and it's kind of the clarification question that we're all asking, is you want the dirty laundry in this. You aren't looking for perfection. I think, all of us are in academics, and so we want to tell you all the good things, but you're really looking for a working document that you can figure out how to make this better.
Yeah, I think that's a good characterization. I mean, obviously we're trying to encourage you to be open and honest in a way that not only us at the foundation can get a real pulse, but that your contemporaries, the other project directors, can see that. So this is, I wouldn't say this is going to be, a hugely evaluative element of the program. I mean, this is really kind of an interim process check. So, we're designing these questions so that we can have a sharing of what works, of what some of the challenges are, not only in the kind of the process that has been designed as the Fellows program, but also in the way in which you are customizing it and making it work on your campus. So there are things you can share, that other people can grab onto and use, in their environments. Those are the things we're looking for.
Perfect. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Thanks.
Great. Okay, so those are the 5 questions that we would like you as a project director to address. And you can see in your report expectations, we've specified those 5 things, and we've given you some guidance as to what we're looking for. For your fellows, they're still required to do an interim report, as has been the case in the past, and we are not giving them that kind of guidance. So it's a very open opportunity for them to provide an interim report. And for those who haven't been involved and your new fellows this year, as you're well aware, at the website there are all the historical reports from prior year fellows. So if fellows are wondering what the expectation is or what they should be doing, we're not going to give a whole lot of guidance because we want them to help us understand their experience and what they've been doing. But there's always the website. If people want to go to the website and read prior reports to get a flavor for what other people have done, that can be a good example. But we do ask that any fellow who is being funded this year, so the first-year fellows that are receiving the full fellowship, and any veteran fellows that are receiving funding, we ask that all of them produce and upload a report. So that would be through, submitting an article at the website, and if there is a syllabus that has been developed and is available, that should be posted to the syllabus exchange at the website as well. So that is a requirement by January 31st of any funded fellow. I know that's not news to most of you that have been with the program previously, but are there any questions about that expectation? Okay, great. So that kind of wraps up what we're wanting to communicate on interim reports. Again, they're due January 31st. We encourage that you submit yours in that project directors only area so that it can be reviewed by other project directors. Fellows submit their reports as an article, uploaded so that it is more broadly available, and all those reports will be available to anyone who comes to the website, particularly the community of fellows in the program this year. So if you have any questions, feel free to direct those, offline to any of us, and we'll be happy to address them. The second topic we wanted to talk about relates to the Self-Employment in the Arts Conference. And in prior years, the Fellows program included a formal element at the Self-Employment in the Arts Conference, and the SEA conference takes place next year, February 22nd and 23rd at the Hilton Hotel in Lisle, Illinois. For those of you who have been there before, it's a very exciting, engaging environment that's specifically created for individuals in the arts who are considering self-employment. This year we don't have a formal program offering there. Previously we had encouraged fellows in the arts to be there. We had required them to be there, and we had a pre-conference similar to what we just did at CEO. But this year we won't have that, yet we still encourage you and any of your fellows in the arts to attend. It's a very exciting event, very a wonderful opportunity to hear speakers from the arts who talk about the business element of the arts and really inspire students from arts disciplines to consider self-employment and take formal steps to identify, develop, advance their business concepts. So again, it takes place February 22nd and 23rd in West Suburban Chicago here in Lisle, Illinois. What we will announce today is that even though we're not requiring anyone to attend affiliated with the Fellows Program, if fellows do wish to attend, the Coleman Foundation will fund their registration fees. So as we've done in the past, we will fund their registration fees. And I'll just show you on the screen here. And this is the Self-Employment in the Arts website, which is at selfemploymentinthearts.com. There's a section here on conferences. So if you were to click on the conference button, it would take you to this page that gives you information on the conference itself. And there's a registration section right here. So about halfway down the page, there's an online registration faculty that you can click on. And when you do that, and when you choose to register, just so that there's no confusion, you put in information here relating to yourself, and then there's a little button down here for Coleman Fellows. And it says no charge, because the foundation is going to cover costs of registration for fellows who are interested in attending SEA. So we really do think it's a great experience for you. We hope to have a significant number of Coleman Fellows there, so we encourage you to attend. We also strongly encourage you and your fellows to bring students. So there are student scholarship opportunities that are available here that you can learn about at the website, and hotel discounts if you hit certain registration deadlines. So, again, while we don't have any formal programming scheduled here, we'll be monitoring registration. If there is a significant number of fellows that are registering, we may have an opportunity to do a little bit something more formal. But right now, we really just kind of encourage folks who are in the arts to attend the SEA conference and take advantage of the experience there. Anything else we want to?
Yeah, I think that the fellows' participation in the SEA conference has been mutually beneficial. The conference has been improved by having the fellows there. It certainly builds excitement and the camaraderie that goes along with it. So that's a plus for SEA. You really feel the differences in the years the fellows are there. And then I just based on the feedback that we've been getting, I think the fellows appreciate the opportunity to participate and be engaged in those areas that are explored at SEA, and it certainly should be complementary to the cups of expressing. So we hope people do take advantage of it.
Great. Any questions about the C conference about self-employment in the arts?
Clark, this is Sharon again.
Yes.
Do you, because there isn't going to be any formal kind of thing with fellows, do you think there's any value in trying to have some kind of a gathering, I guess you will, of fellows and a place for them to come and express things, or do you think that's going to be taken care of through the sessions that are going to be offered there?
Yeah, Sharon, I think there's definitely an opportunity if we get a significant number or reasonable number of fellows to make some arrangements for gatherings so that we can do that. So yeah, we'll absolutely consider that. But since we're not requiring attendance, we're not scheduling that yet. But we'll monitor, and Amy Rogers at the conference will help us know the number of folks that are registering, and we'll look to establish something like that if it makes sense.
Okay.
And feel free in interim reports if you want to find a little bit to kind of suggest something to us through that vehicle. That's fine. Or
well, yeah. All I'm saying is we've got faculty obviously who want to go to this as well, and students, but I'm through the fellows and the baristas and all of that. I'm picking up some exchanges about, well, maybe I'll see you at C, or this would be a good time to maybe have some other, follow up on conversations on different things that they're doing. And it doesn't necessarily have to be those, real formal sessions, but if there were just some place, I think, that could be the gathering place for and not even just fellows in particular, but for faculty to have exchanges. And maybe you bring something that's, significant that they're doing or that they're highlighting, and I think would be helpful, because I think that will be a missed. I think they'll miss something that they're, not coming together. That's all.
Great. Yeah. Good point.
And Sharon, if I can add it, Amy is planning on a faculty session.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. But I guess you know how faculty are. They want to. Okay, now they hear a great idea. Now we want to explore it further. So, I was just hoping that there could be some, that there. That's fine. That'll be great. That's all.
Good. Any other questions about the conference, self-employment in the arts? Okay, good. Well, those are the two major agenda items we wanted to address today. The balance of the time, we're interested in just getting, some very informal check-ins as folks are interested in, kind of talking a little bit about what's happening, what's been maybe surprising, or what has worked, particularly well here over the first half of the academic year. If you could kind of, try to, give us a little bit of a flavor in, a couple minutes or so, we'd appreciate that. If you, don't feel inclined to share, that's okay too. Obviously, you've got your interim report to be a vehicle for that. But if anyone's interested in just offering up a little bit of, perspective on what's happening so far as they've been in the program, this would be a time to do that. So feel free to jump right in and share with your colleagues an update.
Hi, this is Teresa. Hi, everybody. I just want to give a shout out to Diane Welsh and thank her very much for working with our fellows and sharing her draft pre-post survey test. That's going to be an important element for us at Simmons in terms of demonstrating to our administration the value of entrepreneurship education in non-business curriculum. And Diane, thanks a lot. And I think that it will be great to be a part of that effort.
Thank you. We're looking forward to working with you.
That's great. Diane, can you give us maybe just a minute or two about how that's moving forward?
Sure. I think I sent sort of a little write-up to you at Coleman and Joe also about the possibility of maybe having the baristas groups look at submitting some questions on content for their specific areas. And that would be very helpful because really what we've got is a pilot on the motivational side, but we really need some content questions for cross-campus disciplines and how we blend entrepreneurship with those disciplines like chemistry and the sciences and English and different areas. So it seemed to me that the baristas would be a good facilitator for that under the pedagogy, the third tier that they were requested to do. But I haven't heard back on that, so I don't know if that's a possibility or not.
Okay, Diane. Well, I'll follow up with you offline on that.
Okay, great.
Certainly something we should think about pursuing. Thank you.
Just to give you an update, what we're doing on that so far, it's the Entrepreneur Propensity Scale, and Dr. Bill Tuller, who's been here actually about 37 years at UNCG, and he's a psychometrician, and him and I have been working together because there really didn't appear to be any scales that measured cross-disciplinary entrepreneurship, really taking entrepreneurship across campus. And when we assess, which we all need to do, they haven't been assessing anything outside the business schools because AACSB doesn't require that. And then, reality is how do we assess it if we don't have anything to assess it with? Because we can't just measure your regular business skills because it's more than that. It's with the disciplines. So what we attempted to do here was put the motivational piece together and we've given it to about 300, well, after this semester it'll probably be more like 400 students in cross-disciplinary courses, but they're primarily business cross-disciplinary courses. So what we thought the next step is to take it across campus, which we're going to do this semester here at UNCG, and Simmons also has wanted to work with us, which is absolutely wonderful, and we've agreed to help do the statistics and get some results back to them here at UNCG, and basically we'll use that as a pilot, but really the piece missing is also, besides the motivational piece, is really the content piece. So part of what we know as entrepreneurs, if you had an entrepreneur in the family, you have a higher propensity to be an entrepreneur yourself. So those are some of the things we're trying to measure on the first piece, but we really need to get some help on the content piece. And we looked at the baristas and their groups as experts in that, really content experts versus, you know, a few of us sitting down and trying to figure out in music entrepreneurship what do they really need to know in that course. And so that would be very helpful. And so that's basically what we've done. So we've got some pilot data. We pulled out the bad questions, if you want to call them that, the questions that everybody answered the same, and the questions that nobody answered the same. We pulled all those out this summer. We put it together again statistically, and so this is like in our second year of doing this, and that's basically about it. So we're really looking at a way to measure effectiveness, and we do that by pre and post. So give it to the students before they, the very first week they're in the class, and at the very end of the class, and hopefully their entrepreneurial propensity or their ability to be an entrepreneur is going to go up from taking that course, and hopefully from taking majors and minors. So the course is one piece to that.
Great, thanks, Diane. Is that something, I know you mentioned Teresa and Simmons working with you. Are you interested in or receptive to other campuses participating in the way that Simmons is?
Sure. I mean, that's something we could talk about, yeah. I'm real willing to participate. On the other side of it, there's some costs involved with crunching all the data.
Sure. And
we have a limited ability to do that. But,
yeah.
Sure. I'm more than happy to help and can figure something out.
Great. Okay. Anyone else want to talk a little bit about something happening in their neighborhood?
Joe, Clark, this is Don Reamer.
Hi, Don.
I was kind of really interested in the propensity, the discussion that Diane was having, and the information available on that through various sources and foundations. It's quite extensive. I would welcome the opportunity to really talk online about that. The research I've done on the entrepreneurial child historically there's just an abundance of research that's been done on that subject, both in engineering and non-engineering, as well as business and environments and the arts. So I'll be glad to discuss that. I did want to comment that upon return from the CEO conference, a great amount of enthusiasm and follow-up took place. The commitment to the program, to the goals of the fellows were clearly there. And we continue to work in the area of just interacting with our CEO club and the kind of activity that is taking place and continues to take place, working with Karen Evans on our campus. And we've just had great experience since we've come back from CEO, and what the CEO conference has meant to our fellows, both individually and collectively. So I just wanted to comment on that, and also mention my experience at the SEA conference, at the C conference, was excellent, and I would encourage others to participate in that. It was really worthwhile, and certainly we will think about sending some of our students. I'm going to be talking with Steve Coy about that.
Great, thanks, Don.
Mm-hmm.
Just one comment about that. Last spring, the Coleman Fellows had a conference on measurement, that was one piece of one of our monthly meetings. And Mike Morris did present a survey he had started using, I believe, in South Africa. Mm-hmm. But as far as actually measurement devices, to my knowledge, there isn't anything that measures cross-disciplinary entrepreneurship that's out there. There is a lot of articles and research. So anyway, that's just a comment. So.
Okay, great.
I think the more we can work on this together, I think that would be really something for the Coleman Foundation to make a major contribution with the fellows, is to have something to help us measure this. And so I think that would be a good thing for us to get involved in.
Yeah, we should. It sounds like a very interesting area to think about. And Diane, before we move on, there's the Southern Entrepreneurship in the Arts event upcoming. Do you want to say a word about that?
Sure. It's February 9th, and it's a Saturday, and it's a regional conference intended to sort of cover this part of the country. And it is on a Saturday, and it's a one-day conference pretty much starting at 9, and we have a reception and gets done about 6. We can also set up hotel rooms for folks at reasonable rates, so like $50 a night. And we had about 440 attend last year. This is our 4th year, and it's really intended to be a regional conference that covers the states around North Carolina. And then Rebecca White's doing the one down at University of Tampa that I founded that one, but I can't remember the date she's doing that, and she combines that with CEO, like a regional conference for CEO. So I'm sure if you contact Rebecca White, she'll also help you with that in terms of getting the dates. But we're really excited about it and have a really great lineup of speakers. And we break it into performing, visual, and literary arts. So people can go they can really go anywhere they want, but it's got 3 tracks. And then we have like the plenary speakers that sort of overarch all the disciplines to talk about all the areas in the arts. And what's really important is we want artists to not just survive but be successful. And our speakers are not academics. They are successful artist entrepreneurs in our communities and surrounding areas. So I think one of them's from out of state and the rest are North Carolina folks for the most part.
Great. Thanks, Diane. Okay. Anyone else want to weigh in on latest activities and successes?
Hi, Clark. Hi, everybody. This is Thea Chase at Cal Poly.
Hi, Thea.
Hi, guys. This is our first year with the Coleman program, so we're kind of bumping along, listening to all of you, trying to figure out how best to utilize this. But one thing that we did do, this is a first for Cal Poly, I'm sure, is we had a conference or a forum in November, and it was entrepreneurship in the arts and kind of the impact of the technology revolution. The Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, which is the organization that I manage, and which is we have 6 forums a year, and we pick out topics that are relevant in the area of entrepreneurship and that will help to kind of bring in new areas within the university into the kind of the fold. So we'll kind of pick off areas that we've identified that we would like to get more involvement, or maybe there's some low-hanging fruit, or there's some faculty members that are interested in entrepreneurship, and we'll build a forum around that. We've never really touched the area of the arts, and so by using the Coleman Fellows and having a fellow in the arts area as well as in architecture, we were able to pull together a entrepreneurship in the arts forum, and it was one of our best attended forums. We had about 150 people there. It was a mixture of students and faculty and community members and administrators. We had truly touched a group of folks we hadn't touched before. And Enrica, who's our fellow in that area, was our kind of co-moderator for the panel. I moderated the panel, and she helped me. She was on the panel. And we had people we had photographers, and we had graphic designers, and we had, folks that truly have spent a good portion of their careers being self-employed, and then also some folks that have had a perspective, more of an industry perspective. But anyway, it was very successful, and we were able to use the Fellows Program to kind of get Enrique involved and engaged, and as a result of that, also the Dean of Liberal Arts has started kind of a series that is bringing in alumni that have been successful in their own businesses. And so the same day, Eric Meyer, who founded a company called Simple Shoes, who was an art and design major, presented on campus. And so we kind of created this whole day of featuring entrepreneurship in the arts.
That's great. Fantastic. Great to hear the fellows' involvement. And I know Enrique, when I met her, she seemed to be, very taken with the CEO experience, and I'm sure she had a great presence in that event.
Yeah.
Great. Would someone like to go next?
Clark, this is Sharon.
Hi, Sharon.
We just finished about 3 weeks ago having a trade show for all of our student ventures and the fellows and the students to the rest of the campus and to the community. So it was an opportunity for the students then to actually interface with a lot of other people on campus and as well as the community. And they sold a few things. But this was the first formal trade show that we had featuring our student ventures and our student micro and our students who have created their micro businesses as well. And so we're hoping to have a larger one and partner with the Chamber of Commerce in the spring.
Great.
We had 20. Andy's reminded me, because I'm old, I can't remember the number. We had 21 student ventures. Besides our on-campus student ventures, we had 21 student entrepreneurs exhibiting at this trade show.
Yeah, very neat. Cool. Anyone else want to weigh in?
Clark, this is Jihi.
Hi, Jihi.
At Canisius College, this year's one biology faculty members involved as a new fellow. We are now processing to have the business minor in the biology. That is very focused on entrepreneurship minors in biology. So that is a really big step in science area. And so by the Coleman actually support. Then Canisius College, we will be the host for the business plan competition in the next spring semester. This will be the regional competition with the 6 of this Western New York area. 6 universities, competed together in April. So that is something new. That will be the first kind of regional business plan competition in this area.
Great. Thank you. Anyone have any questions for any of our prior project directors or someone who wants to give a little update on their efforts so far?
This is Frank. I thought I'm having trouble with my screen for some reason, and I can't even raise my hand to you, but I hope you can hear me all right.
We can hear you, Frank, yes.
Okay. Just thought you might enjoy an update on our original 3 fellows. We've been in this program for 3 years now, and looking at the first 3 fellows who got involved, just this week, in the end of our semester, our Steve Batar, our electrical engineering faculty member, ran a business plan competition in his electrical engineering design class, and we had a benefactor providing cash awards for those students and coming up with some very innovative things with clear commercial strategies for creating their own businesses. Germano Iannagioni, the head of the physics department here, was one of our original fellows, and he has incorporated entrepreneurship into a major grant proposal that he's got with some international collaborations that's going to be involving multiple disciplines here on campus with several universities. That we have our fingers crossed that we'll be moving forward on that. Germano assures me that whether he gets the grant or not, he's going to be moving forward on this effort. And then many of you know Glenn Godet as one of our new e-baristas, and in addition to moving forward with a new doctoral program that in life science engineering that focuses on entrepreneurship, he's also taking charge of our relationship with the Kern Foundation and moving forward very aggressively on a new proposal with them to expand entrepreneurship education in engineering with a lot of new course development and the creation of a new center focused on entrepreneurship engineering.
Great, Frank. Exciting. It's great to see the veteran fellows still continuing along, and I'm sure you're obviously involved in those efforts and maintaining connected to them and supporting them. So that's fantastic. Good. Well, we're coming to the end of our time. There's just a couple things that I wanted to note as we close the session. Number one, if you do have a faculty fellow or an individual on your campus who is serving as an e-barista, we have sent out the mini grants that represent stipends for e-baristas this week. So as you know from prior communications, each e-barista, we're making a grant of $2,000 to your institution. The intention is that those dollars get transmitted to the e-baristas as a stipend. We initially, when we announced the program, said it was going to be a $1,000 stipend. We've doubled it, recognizing the level of effort those e-baristas are taking. So for those of you that have an e-barista, coming from your program, you should be getting that check here, if you've not already, very soon. So that is, again, a grant to your institution for the purpose of providing a stipend for that e-barista. So have any questions about those, let us know, but they're en route to you. And we do have 15 e-baristas from 10 different campuses leading efforts in the Cups of Espresso. Secondly, we're going to get together in January again for our next coffee hour, so please look for that. Joel will be sending out information on that meeting, and we'll get a little bit more formal agenda out, as we get closer to that time. At the end of January, again, your interim reports will be due, both yours and also those from your fellows. So it's not too early to get those reminders out and get people thinking about how they want to report on their efforts to date. Because January will come quickly, and then we'll be looking for those February 1st, and we track them very carefully, so we look forward to receiving those. So, with that said, we're going to close right at the top of the hour and wish you all a wonderful holiday, and thank you for taking time out to be with us today. I know that many of you are already on break, so we appreciate you dedicating an hour here for the larger purpose, and we look forward to seeing you after the first of the year. Thanks very much.